guys. So this talk is so seeing code as art. So this talk is just about sharing my perspective on how I see code as art. So just talking about myself. So my name is Leon. I've been a software developer for more than 10 years now, and I've worked previously for quite a variety of industries, consultancies, banking, telco, some other stuff as well. Some interesting fact, I used to own a sandwich shop. I sold that sandwich shop, it was delicious. So, first things first, in order to actually see code or correlates between code and what we do as an art, we need to know what is an art. I like this one definition of an art in particular by Wikipedia. It's very simple, but it's very, very powerful. Art is a diverse range of human activities in creating visual, auditory, or performing artifacts, expressing the author's imaginative or technical skill, intended to be appreciated for their beauty or emotional power. Now, in this simple definition, there are actually three distinct components. The first part is specifying that an art is a wide variety of collections of activities that has a result, and the result could be either a visual or auditory or performing artifacts. The second part of it is that it's dependent on the authors, the programmers. It's us. It's not a programmer yet. So it's dependent on the author's imaginative and their technical skill. The third section of it shows that art has an intent. It is intended to be appreciated for their beauty or emotional power. So next then we look into what is actually programming. So when we look into the day-to-day things that we do, we can actually define programming into these three distinct components as well. Programming is an activity which results in visual or auditory or performing artifacts. And then the quality of the program that we do is really based on the programmer's creativity, programmer's knowledge, and their technical skill at the point in time of the creation. Now there is an intention when a program has been created, and usually it's to help to gain some values that which otherwise we can't be obtained. So in a summary, programming itself is an activity to create an art. The code is the art, the programmer is the artist, and the program is the art form. So then, what does it mean when we actually start looking at it start looking code from a different angle, which is as an art? It means that we can correlate how to be a better programmer with how do we master an art. Now, in order to look at that, we look into the master of arts itself. So one master artist that I really love has this particular philosophy. Art calls for a complete mastery of techniques developed by reflections within the soul. There are two keywords in here. They're techniques and reflection. So let's look into techniques. So over the past 20 or 30 years, really, there's just abundance of programming techniques and principles just popping up here and there, just like mushroom. From solid, clean code, all the design patterns that you learn in the Game of Four books, DDD, TDD, everything else, CTRS, ES, event sourcing. So, and then when we think about the number of languages that we have to apply these principles, the techniques and intricacies, it's just multiplied. It's just way so many. The way you would apply a solid in C# would be very, very completely different than the way you would apply solid in Java, even though they're roughly have the same ideas. The techniques and the technologies that you'd be using will be completely different. We can learn so many techniques, but the ask here is not just to master, it's not just to learn the techniques, it is to master the techniques. The ask here is to master the techniques, and in order to master the techniques, we have to pick the techniques that we would like to master, and then we have to keep on doing it. We just have to keep on doing it. It's just never enough for us to actually pick a technique, use it once in a program when we're doing work, and then we just forget about it. So in order to master the techniques, we have to pick the techniques, and then we do it. We go home, and then we do the technique again. We go home the next day, and then we do the technique, and the next day, and so on, until it becomes part of the reflex system. We need to be able to not even think about the technique that we're using. That's what it means to master techniques. So it requires this simple practice. So the second part of it was reflection. So reflection is something that's a little bit different, if we think about it, than a process of mastering techniques. Reflection requires you to actually do the other way around, to not do things, to not do the techniques. It requires us to actively stop and think. Reflection is an active exercise to consider one's experiences in order to seeking for answer. Now, I believe that the issue with reflections is that as us as developers, we don't do enough reflection at all. It's mainly because nobody taught us about reflections. And nobody taught us how important it is to reflect. And because of that, we don't really know how to reflect. One method that I use to reflect on something is by asking this one simple question. Just by asking by how useful is this? When I ask these questions on a particular section of a code or particular design patterns that being used, that being applied into the code, I can then ask for multiple things. There's another whole layer of paradigms that I can open up. In what context would this be useful? How would this be useful, or why is this useful? Who would this be useful for? So reflection is something that can help with that and try to get the answer. So in a summary, programming, what we've just seen is that we just correlate between code and programming as an art. So once we actually be able to get that particular perspective, we can see things a little bit differently. A code mastery it's just a never-ending cycle of both techniques mastery and reflections. It is things that we just have to keep on doing again and again and again. But I think most importantly, whilst we're doing it, we also need to have some fun. Thank you.